be against Illinois?
Hard to say. Sadhu's full go. We'll see. We'll see where Drew's at.
John?
Hey, friend, looking at Illinois and the way they shoot threes, I know they didn't shoot threes well the other night against Duke, but what sort of challenges did that present your defense when they've got so many different guys that can shoot it that well?
Well, plus they're going to shoot 30 plus. And you're right. It comes from a lot of different people. It's not like there's two guys taking them all. And there've been multiple games where, one guy gets hot, a different guy gets hot. So it just spreads your defense out, because they also have drivers. So it's not an easy team to guard, of course.
Tyler?
Hi, Frank. I know there's probably some stuff you might not want to say, but for teams that are obviously game planning to try to contain Drew or to contain Peyton and Josh as much as possible, are there game planning you guys can do to like try to counter the fact that so much emphasis is on trying to stop those two guys?
Yeah, I mean, we've been there before in some respects, not so much, where it's so directed, uh, but I can remember, we had, teams would try to mug, Wieskamp and Bohannon. Now we still had, Luca and some other weapons, depending upon what year it was. But it's definitely something that I think we've all noticed, and those two guys have been amazing with how they just continue to grind and to work, and our guys do a really good job of trying to find them and play off of them. It's great to see the productivity we got from other people, on Saturday.
Kyle?
Yeah, Fran, you guys have dealt with a lot of adversity this year in this in a spot where a lot of teams would maybe have given up and fallen apart down the stretch. Your team has continued to fight. How much of that comes from what you guys as a coaching staff have preached, and how much of that just comes from the team sticking together and saying they're not going to quit?
Yeah, again, not to sell myself and my staff short, I would credit them um, most importantly, because I think you're right. It starts with the leadership at the top, but how those guys work and prepare, and the example that they set for the younger guys, and how the guys accept roles and responsibility. You look at a guy like Brock Harding. He was starting, he wasn't starting. Doesn't matter. He's playing a ton of minutes, and he's going to give everything he's got. Riley Mulvey went from not playing to playing to starting to playing to not playing much, and has a fabulous game. Evan Bronze has been patient for a long time and just continues to get better and produce. And we talk about character in the locker room and culture, and that's what it is. Obviously we keep grinding as a staff and preparation, but it really comes down to a group of young guys that want to compete, want to stay together, realize how close we are and what we're capable of, and that's the journey, that's the challenge, that's what this level is, and that's what they wanted to be a part of. When you're winning, everything's great. It's easy, but so when you have to really, really work hard to win and to stay in the fight, that's the true essence of character.
Mike?
Excuse me. Fran, what did you think when you saw that Illinois was playing Duke in the middle of the Big Ten season like this? And did they, I mean, obviously in hindsight, they lost badly, but did they set themselves up for a harder time in the Big Ten?
You know, those games present themselves at times. We did it a couple of years ago, but you're right, Mike. It was earlier. Uh, I think that was in December when we played at the Garden. We had an opportunity to play in the Jimmy V, and we said yes. This was kind of a one-off game, nationally televised game in February. You know, I can't imagine if we had the opportunity to play that game, we would have said no. We're not going to go play Duke in the Garden. we have the opportunity to do that. I think, when you have a group of competitors, that's what you want. Yeah, they didn't play well. They have a really good team. They've gone through a tough stretch with sickness. They're getting healthy at the right time. They obviously don't have Johnson, but everybody's in the same boat there. There's not any team in the country that doesn't have some adversity right now. So we just deal with it. And, Brad knew what he was doing, and it didn't work out. All right. So it's on to the next.
Tyler?
From your perspective, what makes a good player coming off the bench, and what characteristics do you see in Price that makes him be able to be effective in that role?
Well, first of all, Price is really smart. So he also understands that I'm going to move him around positionally, whether it be defensively or offensively. So that makes him incredibly effective. So we can run different actions and put him in different places, put his brother in different places, put Josh in different places. So you can actually execute your stuff when those two guys are getting mugged. So he also has a tremendous attitude. He just cares about winning and wants to enjoy playing. He knows he's going to play a ton of minutes. Doesn't really matter if you start or not. That's something that I think everybody wants. But as long as you know you're going to be playing, and oftentimes he's on the floor at the end of the game. And he's just a winning player in every sense.
A couple more, Coach. Elliot?
Fran joined just a little bit late, so apologies if you've already been asked this question. But what I'm curious about from your perspective, we've talked a decent amount about what this has been like for the players, and I know you talked a lot about their professionalism, but I'm curious from your vantage point, just with all the health issues that you guys have run into this season, has this been a tough coaching job for you, or what's it been like for you?
You have to remember, there's nothing I haven't seen. Okay, I've been doing this 42 years. So I've been here before. We've had injuries. I mean, I could tell you, one of the teams I coached at Greensboro, one of my favorite teams I've ever coached. We were 7-22. We had probably the second best point guard in the league, broke his leg. My starting center was out most of the year with a knee issue. I had a walk-on playing point guard, and those kids just battled for me. And I remember my athletic director said, that was your best coaching job ever. And you say, well, you look and see you're 7-22. You were awful. We were 20 baskets from 20 wins. Think about that. And those kids just kept battling for me. We had some heartbreaking losses, tip-ins at the buzzer, things like that. I mean, but I can tell you, whether it be as an assistant or as a head coach, I've been here before, every coach that's been around, and you just approach everything as business as usual. Okay, who do we have? What do we have? Who are we playing? How do we get this group ready to play? How do we continue to recruit and work hard on the recruiting trail, still have recruits visiting? We had a couple really good ones here on Saturday. And, so that's essentially what culture is. It's not finger pointing and blaming. It's not my fault. It's his fault. And this team has remained together in that respect. Most importantly, with each other. They love each other. They compete with each other. They support each other. They accept starting, coming off the bench, playing, not playing as much. Whatever you need me to do, coach. And that's what makes this business fun.
All right, final question, Fran. Mike?
Illinois looks like it's, I mean, I wouldn't say a brand new team, but it's got quite a different cast. What distinguishes this year's team?
Yeah, I think they only have one guy back. They've done a really good job, replacing, some veteran guys. Obviously, Shannon was one of the best players in the country last year. And they lost some guys in the portal, but they went and got some guys out of the portal. They got some foreign players. They've got some really good young talent. Two freshmen, really, really good. I've been impressed with this team. I think had it not been for their bout with sickness, they'd probably already be at 20 wins. When I watched them earlier in the season, and then as I started to prepare for them and watch a lot of their games, they've got a lot of ways they can beat you. They've got a lot of weapons. We talked about that earlier with their three-point shooting, but they've got drivers, they've got size, they defend, and they play really well at home. The crowds have been really good and supportive of that team. So, we got our hands full with a really good team. It'd be a great challenge for us.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Okay, guys, thank you.